Good morning, children. Do you know me? What is my name? Have you seen me in school before? Children, my name is Pratik Kundu. You may have seen me in school before, but this is the first time I'm talking to you through a video, and that too on the school YouTube channel by the name Divine Providence Academy. Well, children, can't help. As you know, that the world has been struck by a pandemic called the novel coronavirus. We are left with conducting classes online and teaching you through the platform of YouTube. But I'm sure you are going to enjoy my sessions of literature from here on. Before I get started with this new lesson, I wish to show you a video. So did you watch the video, children? Would you like to make dosas at home? Well, why not? Now that you are at home, why don't you try making dosas? But if you do, please take the help of your parents to begin with. South India, Bangalore, Chennai, and Kerala gave us dosas. And today, dosas are famous across the globe. Few days back, children, we celebrated the 74th Independence Day. We had eminent freedom fighters like Mahatma Gandhi and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose who dreamt of having a prosperous country. But even today, after 74 years of independence, 70% of our country lives below the poverty line. I don't know how many of you bring dosas for your lunch in school. And I don't even know this for sure, that how many of you waste your lunch. Well, if you do, let me tell you that there are many children of your age who can't afford a square meal a day even. You might be thinking that sir is giving us a lot of information about dosas all of a sudden. Why so? Why don't you guess the name of our lesson now? Since I have been telling you so much about dosas, and I have also shown you a video where you can make dosas. Children, you have guessed it correct. The lesson that we are going to deal with in literature today is the Beggar and the 5 Dosais. And I have put today's date, that is 31st August. Well, this has been taken from a Tamil folk tale, not folk tale. As you know, tale means story. What's the meaning of folk? F-O-L-K. Well, when you have a story which relates to few experiences from the rural India. What do you mean by rural India? The village. Whenever you have any stories which relate to the villages of India, that's called folk tales, my dear children. So if I tell you a word that is rural, what's the opposite of rural? Urban. Bangalore is an urban city, but if you talk about any village in Karnataka, that's the rural part of Karnataka. Let me tell you the characters in this particular story. It will be very easy for you. We have a beggar. His name is Shankar. His wife's name is Padma. You will also come across few villagers in the story. And of course, well, I have put Dosa as a character as well, because the story revolves around Dosa. Let's look at some of the important vocabulary. That's important words. It's very important that we learn some new words in every lessons in literature. The first word here is vessel. As you already know, vessel means a container. What's poverty? Poor financial condition, which makes a person beg. That's called poverty. Wholesome. Wholesome means a balanced diet, where you have a balance of everything, proteins, minerals, and essential nutrients. That's called nutritious diet. Okay. Ground. Well, sometimes in English you might come across a word which might have two different meanings, but they're pronounced as same. Ground. One ground is this ground. Okay. And there's there's the sky there, and we have the ground below. But this ground is different. According to the context of this lesson, here ground means to crush the spices. Have you seen mom doing this in the kitchen when she crushes spices and then smears the fragments in the frying pan? That's called ground. What is batter? B-A-T-T-E-R. I don't know. You must have seen that when mom makes dosas at home, she makes a white fluid. Have you seen that? And then she pours the fluid on the frying pan and you get crispy dosas out of it. That's called the batter. Batter is a mixture of flour, water or milk, and spices. It's a mixture. Batter means a mixture. Folk, as I said, villagers. Here, folk means villagers. Solemnly, S-O-L-E-M-N-L-Y. Be very careful about this spelling. It's a very important word. Do you remember that when you take any pledge, you say, you raise your hands and then you say, I solemnly pledge. Don't you say that? What does it mean? I seriously promise. Solemnly means seriously. Disgruntled. You will come across this word. Well, this is a difficult word. Disgruntled means, when I'm teaching and you're probably biting your nails and not showing interest, then I say, why are you chewing your nails? That's called disgruntled, where you are annoyed or angry. Dumbstruck. Dumbstruck means shocked. Horde. H-O-R-D-E. We say, well, the pizza was eaten by a horde of ants. Group of ants. Large number of ants. Horde. Finally, you have got piping samosas. Piping means hot and delicious. You'll see piping dosas. Hot and delicious. Fine. So children, I have explained the vocabulary at large. Now let's go to the events in our story. Well children, our story, the beggar and the 5 dosais, focus on a village in Tamil Nadu. There was a beggar called Shankar and his wife, whose name was Padma, and they used to stay in a small hut. Every morning, this man used to take a vessel and go out to beg. He used to come late at night, but he used to get only small quantities of rice after begging, which was enough to feed them only once in a day. So as you can understand, this couple, the husband and the wife, were starving. One day it so happened that there was a feast in the village. These people were invited, Shankar and Padma. They went there, and out of all the delicious dishes which were fed to the guests, they were served dosas. They ate the dosas, and they could not forget the taste. So, Padma came back home and wanted to make the dosas herself at home. So, she prepared the batter. Now, you know that batter is a mixture. What all did she use for the batter, children? She used rice. She got black dal from a neighbor, green chilies, coriander, and curd. See how easy it is for you to learn and remember now? If you follow my chart, your lesson is done. Rice, black dal, chilies, coriander, and curd. She made 5 dosais. At that time, Shankar came home and the entire house was filled with the aroma of the dosas. When Shankar came, his mouth started watering. Why not? Poor man after all. 5 dosas were made. Okay, remember the number 5. Out of the 5, 2 were served to Padma, 2 were kept for Shankar. They had 4 dosas. So how many were left now? 1. The final dosa, the 5th dosa. Now there was a confusion. Who would have that extra dosa? First they thought, let us divide it into 2 equal halves and have it. But then they thought, well, such an amazing delicacy, a fine dosa, cannot be split into 2 parts. So there was this confusion. Shankar came up with an idea. Shankar proposed that let's have a deal. So I've written here. So there was a confusion about the 5th dosa and Shankar came up with a deal. What was the deal? Now children, let me tell you the most fun part of the story. So there was a kitchen. The couple decided to go to bed on either side of the kitchen. There were 2 cots. Shankar went and slept on the cot in the left side and the wife went and slept on the cot on the right side. It was decided that whoever could remain silent, okay, and close the eyes for the longer duration of time, that person would get the 5th dosa. So what would happen to the person who spoke first or opened his eyes? He or she would lose the deal. Okay, so they started. Now it so happened that it was midnight, okay, and Shankar was lying down like this thinking, oh, I should get the 5th dosa. Padma was lying and she was thinking the same. And then Padma opened her eyes like this. Okay, one eye, only one eye. And she was watching what her husband was doing. Well, Shankar also opened one eye just to see what his wife was doing. Oh, what a funny story. Children, with all this drama, the night passed. And it was time for the sun to rise. It was dawn. But they did not open the gates. The villagers were very concerned because they did not see Shankar come out for begging that day. So they flocked to the small hut and they saw that it was latched. It was locked from inside. Now, as you can understand, the villagers started worrying, thinking, oh my God, we are knocking the door but they aren't opening. What happened to them? Are they alive? Or have they died out of hunger? Now people started making stories. That's why our India is so famous for rumors. Some of the old ladies in the village said, oh, Shankar was a very polite man. Now we won't see him anymore. Some people said, you're talking about Shankar? His wife, Padma. She was a very hard-working lady. We'll miss them. When this happened, some of the people broke the door, went inside and saw that they were lying still. People thought, oh my God. We pray for their souls to rest in peace. The cots were taken up and it was landed. It was put in front of the hut. Probably they were preparing for a funeral. Who knows? That's the time when they could hear all the villagers, but they could not wake up because the moment you wake up and speak, your deal is gone. So you won't get the dosa. Just imagine for one single dosa, such a drama, my children. And it so happened that when Padma was lying down outside the hut, there was some wind blowing and some dust particles got inside her nose. And she started choking. Simultaneously, at the same time, there was a fly which sat on Shankar's nose. And he was about to sneeze and a hatch. He sneezed. You will see that expression in your book. He sneezed and he lost the bet. He got up. The people were surprised. They were dumbstruck. Hey, ghosts! Are they alive? Then it so happened that the villagers flocked around and asked them, what have you been doing? Both of you. Then they told the entire story that it was a part of the deal. And the villagers were like, oh my God. Fine. So Shankar said, Padma, you win. You win the deal. Now you can go home and you can have the 5th dosa. But he was very disgruntled. He was annoyed. He was like, I lost the bet. But it's okay. I don't want that dosa. Padma, you can go and have the dosa. That's called disgruntled behavior. So children, with that being said, now they went inside to the kitchen to have the 5th dosa. When they entered the kitchen, they saw a horde of ants. Red ants, feasting on that 5th dosa. So that is what happens. If you don't eat it, when the right time comes, somebody else will feast on it. So they did not get the 5th dosa at all. As I have written here, ants got to eat the 5th dosai. However, there were some very genuine villagers. They invited this poor couple to their home and they said that we will make dosas for you, and instead of 3 dosas, you are going to have 4 each, and you can eat to your heart's content. Heart's content means to your satisfaction. That is how the story ends, my dear children. Did you enjoy the story? Well, this is how you learn literature. So I'm going to meet you. I'm going to meet you in our video sessions on Google Meet for discussions. But I will still request you to go through the chapter now that you have a clear picture. I'm going to share the notes with you very soon, and then we are going to take it forward. Stay home, stay safe, and study well. Bye-bye.